Look at that logo. Nick Flame. Oops. Neoners. Nick Flame for reals. Gary Brano. What's
Hello.
up? James, you might have to change your input device.
Oh, is it bad?
Oh no, I thought you were talking. It wasn't showing up.
Okay. Hi, how are y'all?
Good.
Nice
That was
to be back.
fun.
Thank
How cool
you.
is that map?
So cool.
I'm so glad you liked
It
it.
was so
Yeah.
cool.
I just put my kids to bed, so now I need about 20 minutes in that map to get rid of some of my own frustrations.
Yeah. I know you're into. This interview is gonna have some like dad tips because you have they're like 3 and 6 in that kind of range, or is that too young?
You're exactly right.
Is that
3
right?
and 6. On the dot.
Man,
Yes.
see.
You already got your dad powers coming in.
I know. Look at that. I feel like that's like new age dad powers, because I feel like all the shitty dad misogynistic things of the past where they don't remember their birthdays and stuff. It's not going to be me.
Exactly. I talk about it with my wife all the time because I'm the one who usually cleans the kitchen and puts the kids to bed. And she looks at me one day. She's like, "What would your grandfather say if he seen you doing this?" And that's a really good question because it is very different nowadays.
Yeah, no, it really is. Well, Misfit Society, it's good to have you on, and
Yes.
it won't be the last time.
Yeah.
And so let's do because Winter's Locked is like, wow, who are these voices? Let's start at the top and do a little little
He knows
introduction.
exactly who we all are. He's a misfit too.
I
Yes.
figured.
That is Tristan. They are our lead designer. We're throwing out there.
Oh,
So yeah, let's start at the top of the Discord to make it nice and easy. So that'd be Brian
Yep.
first.
I'm Brian. I do mechanics for Misfit Society. Also do some Q&A for Pathway.
I'm
Nice.
Helen. I am the director of community for Misfit Society and Rewrite Media.
I am Gerald. I am one of the co-founders of the Misfit Society and Rewrite Media and Pathway Studios and all that good fun stuff.
And I'm James. I'm the other co-founder and creative director and whatnot of Rewrite Media, the Misfit Society, all that stuff.
He's really just the guy we keep around.
Yeah, I just kind of hang around.
So I'm just laughing at Spark Universe.
Spark Universe in the chat.
Yeah, so when we were making this map, our thought was, how can we piss off Spark the best? And we came up with this idea.
This is the whole idea. Yeah. That's
No,
so
this
funny.
is my tribute to Spark. This is yeah, they laid the groundwork. They like what Spark Universe did for furniture maps is the only reason why this map is as good as it is, right?
I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, they really were the the kind of the first people to break out into the furniture genre.
Yeah.
And then
they did it. They killed it.
Yeah. I mean, Furniture Modern is still one of the, I think top 5 maps ever as far as sales or something like that.
That's
it was incredible, and it started an entire genre. But no, I'm super excited to see you guys. You've been talking about this map for a long time, and I was very excited to be able to dig in and actually start playing it. So, and the other cool thing is, Helen, how does it feel to be on this side of the interview?
It's nerve-wracking, actually.
Well, cool.
But I'm a lot less nervous than I was at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if James and Gerald and Brian, you were here at the very beginning, but I was telling Quinn that I've actually been super nervous about this interview. Like, I can stand up and perform and give talks in front of hundreds of thousands of people, but Quinn's live stream, I've been incredibly nervous about because Quinn and I are such good friends. And this is my map concept idea. And I was so worried that Quinn wasn't going to like it.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling less nervous, because I was going to start with you because, since this is your map concept, I want to kind of dig into your brain a little bit and kind of talk a little bit like how you kind of came up with this concept and how you worked with I'm going to just call you all your different names. They're all just the same. Worked with the
It's fine.
Misfits to kind of turn it into something real.
Well, it was one of my first meetings, and we were brainstorming on map ideas because we had just finished Totems, or we were wrapping up Totems, and we wanted a little bit of a simpler map. And I had already really enjoyed destroying furniture in Fortnite, like some sort of like crazed real estate agent. And I was like, why don't we just do like a furniture destruction map? Because I love destroying things in Fortnite, and we could totally do this in Minecraft. And and also I'd rather play Minecraft and destroy furniture. So it was kind of also for me because I wanted to destroy furniture in Minecraft. But I thought, there's got to be a lot of other people because 2020 was a really sucky year for a lot of people.
Yep.
And so I'm like, you know what? I'm sure there's other people who want to destroy things as much as I do in a nice, safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember like Helen brought up the idea. Yeah, I mean, like she said, like I think right after she started working with us, and I think the first time it came up was like, I don't know, we were just like messing around on Slack or something, and like we kind of file. I was like, oh, that's a cute idea. Like that's funny. Like that'd be cool. And then like yeah, like there was that meeting, and we were kind of figuring out what our next project was, and Helen said, well, what about that furniture idea? Uh, and it just all clicked. Like everyone got super excited about it. Um,
That
I
may.
believe I believe what I said was the only way I will ever do a furniture map is if it is all about just destroying furniture. Uh, and yeah, and it really came together.
Well,
I mean,
it's
oh,
funny
go ahead,
because
James or Gerald.
yeah, it's funny because me and James were kind of aligned on the idea of as much as we kind of look to Spark how they kind of started this genre of furniture maps, we kind of hate furniture maps, and there's a lot of reasons why, and it's not because they're not fun. It's just there's tech limitations to it. So when James messaged me one day, and all he says to me was, "We just got out of creative meeting, and we're making a furniture map," and he just waited for me to freak out.
And I'm sure you phrased it just like that to be as most
Yeah,
clickbaity as possible.
Yep.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it took a few weeks to sell Gerald on it, but and within a couple of weeks, I want to say maybe within a week, one of our mechanics, our wonderful mechanic Ease, came back with this like first iteration of this tech, and I think at the time it was just like little pink boxes that would explode. And like from there, we all knew, like even including Gerald, we all knew
Yeah.
like this is the map, like this is gonna be really incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like you have those like design meetings, and when everybody starts to like chip in ideas, like that's how you know it's like it's something that everybody can like contribute to and is like locked in as something that should be will be really fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew it was going to hit when we were testing the tech, and they sent me a build to play around with, and my son started watching me play the build, and he started wanting to play it. So I loaded up on the
Mm.
iPad and I let him play with it, and for the next like 3 weeks straight, all he did was just go around to different places and just destroy things, and he absolutely loved it. So from that moment on, we knew that it
That's how
was a
you
fun
knew.
map,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
Brian, I think you were going to say something too as well on that last point.
Oh, I just wanted to give a shout out to Shane because he was really integral to the to that first iteration of getting the animations of the furniture to look right.
Yeah. So Ruby has speaking of the animations, Ruby Jam in the chat has a great question.
Mhm.
So are the animations of the furniture made manually, or do you kind of bake the physics in? How is the kind of the creation process of those?
Yeah, so I might mess this up. Just going to preface that, but I believe that the geometry files just have separate components. You know, like all the broken up bits. And once you reach that state of where the furniture explodes, there's some random values that get assigned to it to give it sort of motion in different directions.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
A lot
cool.
of
So,
math.
breaking.
so every time you break a piece, it is sort of unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember when we hit that, like, we were kind of trying to figure out uh how do we make these things actually break? Do we have to individually go in and animate this furniture exploding? Do we do it with particles, whatever? And Shane and Ease figured out this process of actually randomly just exploding these pieces. So like every time you break a piece of furniture, like it's never going to break the same way twice.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And
That's
what's
And
really
really
and
that's
interesting,
cool.
and shout out to Kip and Joseph also for coming, taking the time to model those, because I'm sure that took a very long time to model it in tiny little pieces like that. So
Yeah. Our incredible artists, Kip Tricks and Joseph, uh, they figured out this pipeline of like how do we create this furniture, within all of these tech constraints, right? So like they would model a piece of furniture, with these different components and stuff that could be exploded, and then they would make that model like broken, and then come up with whatever textures they needed for that. Uh, and then the way that they handled the textures with these texture sheets was also just incredible, so that we didn't end up with a ton of textures. I think the whole
Mm-hmm.
map had like a handful of texture files.
yeah. And what's really interesting is there was a point where we weren't even sure if this map was going to be able to come out, because once we had all the tech done and we had all the builds done and we started putting it
yeah.
together, we found out that having hundreds of pieces of furniture all around you doesn't actually work that well in Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the reasons why we don't like furniture maps. So Brian, Jerry Brano, he spent a lot of time trying to figure out a solution for that, and he came up with a really clever solution. You
It's
want to talk about your solution?
beautiful. It's
Sure.
beautiful.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
spent weeks trying to figure this
yeah.
out. Just
Yeah.
as another premise, we spent weeks like, how do we make it so that you are not constantly loading thousands of pieces of furniture?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we ended up having to create we'll just, for lack of a better word, we'll just call them maps of like they're almost like raycast of what rooms you can see and all that stuff. And it's all buried underneath the maps, of different colors of concrete or whatever. And where you're standing kind of informs the game of what furniture should be sort of loaded into the level at any given time. So we can hide, if you're in the bathroom, you can't see the living room, so the living room furniture is just unloaded. And
Mm.
as you move from the bathroom to the living room, you cross over from, say, lime concrete to yellow concrete, and then the code goes, oh, okay, well now I need to show you the living room.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, so
basically
like throughout the
so I was gonna say you basically made your own, like you developed your own like occlusion culling.
yeah,
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
that's
that's
super
exactly what's
cool.
happening. So as you're walking through the house, what you don't see is this furniture is popping in and out of existence. And that wasn't it. It sounds on paper like it's a pretty easy task, but the hardest part is you have all these different kind of lines of vision, right? In the starting house, you could stand in one of the bedrooms and see a straight line throughout the entire house. And what we didn't want is as you're walking around, seeing things kind of pop in and out of existence.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian spent a lot of time kind of tweaking it and making it so
Mhm.
more, at least in the latest version, I can't find anywhere where you'll see an empty room.
Yeah.
And I think that's true, right? There's nowhere that
No,
happens anymore.
no, there's not. Yeah. The IKEA level, that was that one had to get reworked a bit because there was too many straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for the most part, everything was pretty good. But yeah, it took us like 2 weeks to go through and like sort of make these maps of things. So it was a big undertaking
Yeah.
once we found that issue.
It's funny you say that, Gerald, that it sounds easy on paper. Let me tell you, because this was an assignment that we had to do in DigiPen, which was to do all of the math to create a like OpenGL like color, basically, that takes your view plane, does all the math, and determines whether things are in your view or not. It's not easy. The math fucking
Yeah,
sucks. So
exactly.
doing that in Minecraft is a pretty incredible undertaking.
Yeah, and I have to say he did it pretty quickly. You had the system developed, at least the idea tech
Yeah.
wise, like in a couple days, right? And then
Yeah.
within a week or two, you had it implemented.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for some of the levels, sure. Yeah. And then there was a whole like, iteration on it to revise it and get it better and better. But yeah, about a week we probably had it in a working state. Yeah.
Yeah, Locke. So I went to DigiPen, so I got a degree in computer science and game design, and thankfully I didn't have to go super deep. I basically had to take a class that was like an introduction to all of the concepts of that. A lot of the other people that are like Chris, for example, and Greg on the team graduate the full CS degree from DigiPen, and they had to go and like implement all of that stuff into an actual game. I just had to do it as like projects, so
Right.
it's shit's wild.
Uh,
But yeah, so
Juan Gaming.
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Juan Gaming had an interesting question. His question was, "Where do you guys get the ideas?"
Oh
for all
yeah,
the
that was the
places
question I was
in
going to ask.
house?"
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. I'll let James answer it, but to set it all up, every single house was, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, was based off of something.
Well, so the not all of the buildings were necessarily based off of something like kind of referenceable. We, just kind of set our level designers on making these, and they came back with some kind of like more general sort of modern houses or whatever, and then some of those cool little Easter eggs like the Parasite house and the like Dunder Mifflin and IKEA,
IKEA.
which I think the IKEA level was originally going to be a mall, and we
Mhm.
made it into IKEA because a mall would just require too much sort of unique furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And But all of the names of the levels are a reference to something. Every
Yeah.
single level name is a reference to something. One of our friends, uh, one of Andrew approaching Nirvana,
Hmm.
um, something that we've made ourselves. Uh, yeah. So all of the names, and that came pretty late in the process. I think like at
Mm.
some point we were like, oh, we've got to like come up with names for these places. And
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, we got to like put this little dial that we had that changes the model. It has to show something
Yeah.
above it.
Yeah,
yeah,
well, because it was originally, it said like Parasite House and IKEA, and like we can't
Yeah.
really ship with those
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
And then as far as like how they wound up being like Jig's house and Brightmore's place and all that stuff, we have great friends. Quinn, the
Oh
community of
yeah.
creators in Minecraft are super close. We all know each other, and we always like to kind of throw nods at each other as just thanks for either helping each other or just kind of being there for each other, the support.
Mm-hmm.
And people like Brightmore, Jig. There was originally supposed to be a Spark reference in there. They're friends of ours. They're people that we respect and look up to, and want to make sure that we kind of give them a little nod and a little representation.
Yeah, I think that's just the coolest part about just like you were saying with the Minecraft community and the marketplace is like it allows that sort of creative freedom and all that. There's not like any rules or restrictions. I mean, obviously there's policies and you can't like have guns and stuff like that, of course, but
Sure.
like all the content that you guys make is your own content. And good question from Five Frame. I was just about to transition to another question. That one popped up. How long did QA take,
Months.
and kind of what was your process of making sure that all of these fairly complex systems worked?
QA always takes us a long time. People who know us know that we also have the pathway, and we have our own QA team that tests content. So we're lucky in that respect. But a map like this, Brian generally heads up QA. A map like this has so many different moving parts and so many things that could go wrong. We don't do a normal kind of QA pass where we just cut an RC and kind of send it over and hope for the best. We're constantly QAing this and iterating as we go along. Would you say that's a fair assessment, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean that kind of
QA
makes
took
sense.
probably as long as making the map did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
every step of the way is stopping and checking things along the way.
yeah, I mean that's kind of the a very modern approach to kind of QA, where it's like very iterative testing. Like every new system that you test how that works and then how it interacts with all the other systems, and by the end you come out with a much higher quality product that doesn't need as well. You're gonna have fewer bugs that you find through those kind of final QA passes and stuff.
Exactly. The interesting part was when they first designed this in our creative meeting, the idea was, can we get a map out quickly? Like what can we do to get a map out within a couple months?
it was supposed to
Six
be like a 2 or 3 month project,
yeah.
y'all.
6 months later, we're like, hey, we're almost there.
Yeah,
So it took a long time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because that's a common question that the chat asks is, the whole development process. What was kind of so it sounds like you kind of started with the mechanics and then built around that. is that typically how like the Misfit goes around kind of building their maps, or do you have various approaches that you take in the different maps that you make? Kind of what each project needs, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, so it can vary a bit. And sorry, Brian, were you gonna say something?
Oh, go ahead, take it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, so it can vary a bit, and it's definitely kind of a process that we are still refining and trying to figure out, like, what is that best way to start a project and to kind of ideate there. But yeah, like a lot of the time, our first step is usually, our mechanics take a couple of weeks and play with whatever that core thing is, and getting together, like, you know, can we make furniture explode when I hit it? Can we make a laser that turns like one set of blocks into another set of blocks? Uh, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would add that, like, it really depends a lot on the type of content you're trying to make. In this particular case, it's very mechanic focused, which is smashing the furniture. Something like Totems actually had all the levels built first before we put any mechanics into it, because it's very survival based. So it didn't there wasn't tech we had to prove first in making that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a case by case. And one of the core tenets at the Misfit Society is that we only work on projects that everybody wants to work on. We
Mm-hmm.
don't look at what's trending and then kind of run with it. We sit down and speak as a team and see what people are enjoy making. And once we get sign in from literally everybody on the team, that's the only time we know that we're going to move forward. So the benefit of that is you get a piece of content that, like, not only is it fun to play, but it was fun to make
Mm-hmm.
to an extent. I mean, it's still work, but we enjoy doing it, and everyone gets a chance to kind of get their say in. Who would you say? I don't know. Who would you say was the kind of leading design on this project, James?
I don't know. It was definitely this map in particular was like a huge collective effort. Um, I Brian and Ease, particularly, were the lead mechanics on this, and like Brian was saying, uh the mechanics sort of led a lot of this map. Um, but yeah, I mean, just like I don't know that I could point to any one person in the design process who, like, besides Helen for having the original idea, I suppose.
Fair.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like any one person being responsible for the majority of the design here.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I really like that sort of collaborative approach, and it's cool that you've been able to be successful as a studio with you know being able to just make sure everybody has buy-in. And I think that really comes across too with the content that you make. Like I think Totems is another good example. Is like this design idea was so pervasive through the whole thing that all of the rest of the game supported that idea. And it's the same thing with this map too, as well. Is like you have this kind of core idea, and then you just build out a lot of highly polished features that go all around that. With the classic mode, time trial, and we didn't even mess with the placing your own stuff and going and breaking all that. And like I feel like players that like that kind of furniture style gameplay will spend a lot of time designing their house and then having a ton of fun going and destroying it right afterwards.
It's
Yeah, and
actually funny. Oh,
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, like, to that end, like, that's like another example there where, like, you have Gerald to thank for the free play mode being in the map at all, because, like, I kind of fought against that. I was not a huge uh proponent of the free play mode
Mm-hmm.
basically until it was done. Um,
Mm.
I was worried that, like, yeah, I was worried that, like, if we don't make a full-fledged feature complete furniture map in that mode, like, is it worth doing? And we ended
Mm-hmm.
up a great little kind of miniature version of a furniture map. Uh, yeah, Gerald fought for it. He said, no, it's going to be great. Like, it's
yeah.
trust me here, people are gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And
Well, the way I looked at it was the only thing better than breaking things is setting it up so you could break it yourself, right?
Yeah, it's just
Like
like
you could,
dominoes, right? Like you got to
yeah,
go design your own
exactly.
thing and then just knock it all down.
Exactly. So you could set up a room to look like your living room or your bedroom or your brother's or sister's bedroom, and then destroy it. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's just fun. I don't know. That's the type of stuff that kind of turns me on, right? That kind of gets
Yeah.
me excited.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that goes, it hits the kind of niche of age group that this kind of map, really appeals to, which is that exact kind of thing, that 12-year-old, the 10, 12-year-old to 14 that just, wants to do that and build it and then just break it all down, and just like that core game loop is just super fun to do all of that.
Yeah,
I
yeah, and
highly
they
recommend. Oh, sorry, go on.
no, go for it, Helen.
I was going to say, I highly recommend it for parents, especially stressed out parents, who maybe have had a little too much of quarantine and want to relieve some stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, totally. And they added this feature to creative mode, which I thought was amazing. They added this save feature, so you could set up a room, destroy everything, and then reload it and destroy it all over
Oh,
again.
cool.
And yeah, and do it over and over again. And it's so much fun. So much fun.
Oh, I love that. So a couple of our obligatory recurring questions that we have according to Jamie. First one is starting at the top from Brian and going down. What's your favorite flavor of crisp?
Crisp. We talking like potato chips, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Nacho cheese Doritos.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Cheddar
Classy.
and sour cream ruffles.
Ooh, that's number 2.
You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I like baked Lays.
No.
No, I liked baked
Oh.
Lays.
Baked
Oh,
Lays are
no.
really good, and they hold up better to like dip. If you
That's
just take a
true.
regular Lays, you put that in like French onion dip, it breaks apart.
Yeah, but that's what Ruffles are for. I don't know,
Fair.
Gerald.
That's fair. Baked. It makes me feel like I'm eating a healthier snack than I really
That's
am.
fair. That's
No.
fair.
I like a potato chip that hurts my mouth. I like the really crispy, like shattering kettle chips in either like a salt and vinegar or a
Oh yeah,
black pepper.
I can
Like
get
I
I can
want
get
something that's
behind
gonna
some.
kind of hurt a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Salt and vinegar is good. Yeah, I agree. That's my second.
Today I learned James is a masochist.
Today, you've been with us like a year.
I feel like I've known that for a little while. But I don't know.
What's your favorite?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of harder to get them here, but I'm a huge fan of the all dress chips. Those are just really excellent. So the ketchup chips, I could
Oh,
just
yeah, that's
crush
a
a
big
bag
thing
of
in the
those.
UK, right?
In Canada,
Canada.
too. Mhm.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yep, they're called all dressed in Canada. It's they are incredible. We had some weird ones when we went to Barcelona, and
Oh yes, we did. I forgot.
they had just a bunch of interesting Pringles flavors. Like I had hamon, which is basically like their like aged like ham legs, which is fucking delicious. But they have Pringles that taste like that. They also had tikka masala ones.
Chips.
Tikka masala chips. Yep, they're Pringles that taste like
Oh.
Indian food. Man, pretty damn
Can
good.
I get
actually.
those? That sounds amazing.
You're just gonna have to go and order them on some who knows, but yeah, you could technically.
Wow, I'm gonna have to look that up. That's
Yeah.
the next rewrite party, James.
There's
Tikka
just
masala or
some tikka masala chips.
different flavors of Pringles for dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Ooh,
not bad.
you think there's butter chicken as well? That'd be awesome.
It might be. It might have been butter chicken. I can't remember what. It was something. It might have been like red curry
Mm.
and like yellow curry or brown curry or something like that. Either way, it was a curry flavor that was, like tikka masala or whatever. It was
I'm
quite
sold.
good. And then what does a release date look like for Misfit? Do you all just
What
kind
happens
of,
on a release date?
yeah? What is do you have any like anything that you celebrate? Any sort of traditions?
No, everyone takes off.
Yeah,
everyone.
mostly-
Yeah.
Everyone takes the day off and just quietly hopes that there's not like a
Game bacon bug.
breaking bug that
Mhm.
comes to light as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
Our team works really hard for their content, and like we're super happy with kind of how much they put into it. So once their jobs are done, we try to at least keep them, chilled out and kind of
Yeah.
step back. It's the hope.
That
at
makes
least.
sense. So they don't go too crazy. That's nice.
Yes. Though release week is probably when Helen has to worry the most, because that's
Yes.
when most of her kind of
Need to come
stuff
on.
kicks in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So release week for me is very similar to release week at Mojang, which is me watching socials and listening to the community and hearing community feedback and stuff. And And I have to admit, like, I was more. This ranks right up there for when we released Better Together. That's how much
Mm-hmm.
anxiety I had
Wow.
about this map. Not because I didn't think it was good, but because like I said before, I felt vulnerable. Like this is something that I love so much, and it's being put out there. And what if people don't like it? Oh my god! Which is sort of like, I guess, no, it was the Switch launch that I felt like that too, because I had spent so much time working on Minecraft Bedrock for Switch
Mm-hmm.
that I felt like that too, where I felt like that vulnerability, like this is something I love and I've just poured my heart and soul into. So yeah.
Oh, I
like
remember
that.
when the Switch was released. You were going crazy.
Oh,
up
that
and down.
was
Your whole team was.
that whole thing was wild. That was
Yeah, we
one of
had an
the
overnight launch party because it launched in Japan first. So we literally wore pajamas.
That's what I was gonna say. Didn't you have like a war room going when that
Yeah.
all
Oh
launched?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
that entire launch could have gone better.
It could have
And
gone
actually,
a
let me
lot.
say, it could have gone a lot worse too, as well, considering how the development before it went. Let me just say, but it
Yes.
was ended up working out really well.
Hey, my son spends most of his time playing Minecraft on Switch. So
It's
you
true.
guys
I mean,
did
there's
good
a
job.
huge amount of people that just play on there. So
Yeah.
but yeah, well, Misfit, thank you so much for hopping on here. And
Always.
any last things that you want to shout out before we go?
Yeah, well, Five Frame just asked a pretty quick, interesting question that I wanted to ask
Oh, sure.
answer quickly. And they asked, how big is the Rewrite
Mm-hmm.
MC team? And this is an interesting one. This feels so good because, we've been at this for a few years now, and it's nice to say we have about 13 full-time staff members and probably another at least half a dozen to dozen separate contractors. So there's a lot of us kind of working in the different aspects, and that covers more than just making content. That's everything from developing art, business stuff like management and accounting, to community, to just key art trailers, like anything you could think of. It's really interesting.
That's cool.
It's really proud. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
no,
is
it's awesome that you've
crazy.
been able to build out a team like that.
Yeah, I mean, like when we started this, it was me and Gerald, and that was
Exactly.
it. And that was in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been great seeing it grow.
And James thought he was going to do this part time. That was his. This was going to be James's way of making passive income.
I explicitly told Gerald, I explicitly told him in 2017, I do not want to run a build team. Like, like Pathway is one thing, but I do not want to run a build team. And
Mhm.
yeah, and here we are.
And now look
a year
at you.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's running a build team.
Yeah. So Wand, Rewrite is the parent company of both Pathway Studios and Misfit Society. The Misfit Society is a in-house creation team, and Pathway Studios does published content. That's basically how that works.
We also do other stuff if you're familiar with bucketofcrabs.net.
Yep.
That is done by us as well. Anybody, just a quick shout out to bucketofcrabs.net. If you're looking for a team to work with, that's the place to go. And our EDU team. You know what? Winters is pointing out our EDU team. That's a huge part of us as well. We do a lot of kind of educational content for kids. We love kids, we love education, and we love Minecraft. So putting it all together is amazing.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for hopping in and
Thanks for having us
and hanging out and chatting.
And I'm not going to let anything out, but we're going to be talking soon, aren't we?
We are. We're
Yeah.
might
Brightmore said, "What are you working on next?"
What are you working on next? How do you follow up on this? Well, just tune in next week and you'll find out, because we do have a back-to-back Misfit map.
That's right.
So
that's right. Yeah. How do we follow up on this sleep? Jeffrey says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, shout out to Jeffrey, our producer, who did an amazing job.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who worked on this. It takes a whole lot of people to make something this good. I think at this point we've mentioned just about everybody who worked on this, but if there's anybody we missed, and thank you so much to the Rewrite family for making this possible.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody
100%.
did such an amazing job, and for me especially, there's so many moments where my breath would just catch, like playing a build, as I saw like everything coming to life, and Yeah, I'm starting to get emotional, so I'll just shut up now.
We could hear it, Helen. We could hear it. We love you though, so it's okay.
It's all good. Well, thank you so much. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week and weekend.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
All right.
one.
See ya.